Thanks. For those who don't know, my name is Jørn Mortensen, and I'm the rector here at Oslo National Academy of the Arts. Welcome so much to the Artistic Research Week 2018. The Artistic Research Week started up last year with the ambition to become an annual event focusing on the variety of research practices here at Oslo National Academy of the Arts. Artistic research has been widely discussed in academia over the 10, 15, maybe 20 years, and is currently recognized as a fruitful and necessary component in contemporary knowledge production within the arts. At Oslo National Academy of the Arts, or KHiO, as we say, research is an integrated part of the commitment to all academic staff. We hire academic staff who have an active research component as part of their practice, in addition to the formal expectations to teachers at KHiO. It is a vital necessity for the generating of new insights and reflections. Therefore, if we sum up all the research time for academic staff at KHiO, it adds up to more than 20 full-time equivalent work years. That is a good chunk of research time and represents the biggest artistic research environment in a Norwegian context. But perhaps more important than volume, it feeds back on the education at all levels as research-based education. Last fall, the Ministry of Education and Research decided to establish a PhD in artistic research. The news was welcomed amongst artists and institutions all over Norway, but still it spurred to a discussion in certain traditional and social medias, ignited by an article by Jesper Aagaard Petersen and Tone Pernille Østern, both related to the Department of Teacher Education at NTNU in Trondheim. Some of the questions posed were, what can we expect from this kind of research? Would this sort of research satisfy the demands in the Salzburg principles? Why establish a parallel PhD degree to an academic degree? And what concepts of science will serve as the epistemological platform for the PhD? This led to a clarification of standpoints, of attitudes, but also brought in some perspectives that I think we need when artistic research is discussed in general. And one key question was obviously methodology. So one point of departure for this year's Artistic Research Week has been the question of methodology. And this points back to when Mika Hanola visited the KHiO in 2016 and gave a lecture on methodological abundance, a concept which was highly approved by colleagues here at KHiO. The plurality is in many ways the most striking feature of artistic research, namely the methodological diversity, whereas it both characterizes, it justifies, but also challenges the practice. The discussion tomorrow before lunch, Perspectives on Artistic Research, will in many ways take off from where the discussion initiated by Petersen and Østern left us, so I look forward to that. Given the plurality, the Artistic Research Week will materialize in many formats. There will be presentations and lectures on research projects and topics, and workshops for practitioners. There will be discussion groups, exhibitions, film screenings, and so forth. The week shall serve as a platform for discussion and the exchange of experience, and as an opportunity for professionals to meet informally. And this is very important, of course. Informal meetings. We all know the value of informal exchange of experiences that happens in a lunch or over a cup of coffee. The Artistic Research Week 2018 is aimed at students, research fellows, faculty members, admin and tech staff at the Oslo National Academy of the Arts. But we also intend to reach out to artists, researchers, academics, colleagues in general, and at anyone in the public sphere with an interest in research in the arts. So I hope you all will have interesting days. I hope those of you who have come here as visitors will experience intriguing and inspiring days at this fantastic campus. And to wrap this up, I would like, on behalf of the Oslo National Academy of the Arts, to thank a few people. And that is Trond Lossius, Head of Research at KHiO, Siren Kjøtta, who has done a marvelous job with the programming and also preparations of the event. Linda Thu, Kjetil Paulsen, Vidar Iversen, Nils Johnsen, Ivan Holt, Kikki Norén Løvgren, Kenneth Jorhøy, Edle Hanto, Tom Trøvebråten, plus those I have forgotten. But most important perhaps is a big thank you to all of you who contribute to the Artistic Research Week with presentations, with talks, exhibitions, reflections, discussions, etc. It wouldn't be possible without your efforts. So with these words, I'd like to leave the floor to Trond Lossius, Head of Research at Oslo National Academy of the Arts, and wish you a very interesting 4 days. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome to the Research Week at Oslo National Academy of the Arts. My name is Trond Lossius. I'm Head of Research. I started in this position last fall. It's a new position within the school, and I think it's part of the strategy of the school to strengthen how it's working with artistic research and trying to get a more unified institutional way of dealing with this. And it's been a very interesting period I've had at the school so far. A lot of the work that I've been working on has had to do with building structures for the research, or strengthening structures that were already here. That has taken a lot of time, and one of the things that regrettably so far I've felt that I had less time for than I wanted to and I thought before I started was to be able to spend time with all of the staff here and kind of engage in what they're working on. So I have to say that I'm really looking forward to this week for my own sake, and to be able to learn more about all the work that is going on within the school, and also spend time with the sharing and the discussion of the works. So I'm quite excited about the next 4 days. Before I start, I'll just take a few practicalities. The first one is, in case of fire, the escape routes are at the back of the stage here, left and right, and signs onwards from there. Each day of this research week, we will be printing up the program for the day, and on the back side of that note that you will find in the reception, there is also information for guests on how to log on to the Wi-Fi here at KHiO. It's quite easy. I think it's called KHiO Guest. And then you have to, give your phone number and you get the code that is working for a certain amount of time. So if you do that, just please put your phones on silent mode so we don't get bling, bling, bling here. In case you need it, there are toilets out there. And we will be serving coffee in the breaks. The coffee will be served in the reception area. We try to keep the coffee breaks not too long, but you're welcome to come over there for coffee. But please, in order to take care of the halls here, please don't take the coffee back in here or food back in here. That you leave the coffee there. You can get more coffee the next break. And one last practical information is that today, tomorrow, and Thursday, the cantina has extended their opening hours, so they're open till 5 o'clock. All of these days we have programs going into the evening, so that means that it's possible at the end of the day sessions to get a meal there before you attend more activities. So I want to say a little bit about the research at KHiO and also give an overview of the program here before we take the first break. And the research at KHiO in Norwegian is called kunstnerisk utviklingsarbeid og forskning, and the abbreviation in Norwegian is KUF. And this is a term that is a little bit difficult to translate into English, because in Norwegian we often use forskning for scientific research, and then we use kunstnerisk utviklingsarbeid for the artistic research. But I think it's quite interesting that the school recognized that the school is doing both artistic research and it's doing more of the scientific kind of research. Because the fact is that the research going on within the school, it's like a multitude of different kinds of research. Of course, that has to do with all of the different artistic disciplines that the school is working with. We have 6 departments: fine arts, art and craft, design, dance, opera, and theater. So there's a variety of practices between the departments and also within each of the departments. But also, the academic staff here is artistic practitioners that are teaching here, but it's also theory staff. And I think that often the statistic or the research of the theory staff will often be more within the humanistic field, for instance, than it will be artistic practice-based. So we're recognizing these different kinds of research that we're doing. And also, I think that a lot of the artistic research here, in particular within some of the departments, I was discussing this with the dance department yesterday, also very often has a focus on pedagogy and didactics, and is pretty closely linked to how they're doing the education within the department as well. So there's like a variety of practices within the research within the school that is very important to recognize. And in programming this week, we tried to sort of like embrace all of these different practices. And I think like in particular tomorrow for the program there, we will try to establish a dialogue between all of these different practices and also look beyond KHiO towards other academic institutions and the research going on there and in the professional independent artistic fields. One of the interesting things is that rather than having all of these strict different kind of research practices, I also see very strong tendencies of more hybrid practices. And just this morning, I got a text from one of the theory teachers at the design department, Theodor Barth. He was sharing with me his notes for a conversation that he's taking part in tomorrow. And I find some of his thinking really, really interesting, because he's thinking of theory not as something that is just superimposed on artistic practice and research, but something that is rather sort of like transplanted to become part of practice itself, theorizing from within. And I think these sort of hybrid practices where the things come together is something that I really enjoy seeing and would encourage doing. There's a lot of, like the artistic research or the research in general is one of the strategic emphasis of the school currently within the strategy plan. And the KHiO has been working on this for long, and we have some very exciting results recently. One of them is that just a few weeks ago, the school was accredited as a specialized university institution. This is something that has been worked on for, I think, at least 5 years, and there's been a lot of staff at the school involved with this. It's been a long process. So that was a really exciting new achievement for the school that will enable us to do things that we couldn't do before. It gives us added responsibility, and it also gives us added freedom to develop our research and education in the future. And this goes for all 3 cycles within the educational program. But one of the exciting things is that it will enable us to establish a PhD program. I will say a little bit more about that, but I also just wanted to say that, as Jørn already mentioned, this process of establishing a PhD comes out of a long-term process that started when the program for the Artistic Research Fellowship program was established in 2003. KHiO has been part of that from the very beginning, and we have currently 21 active research fellows here at school, distributed across all of the departments. This program is now in a transformation into becoming a formalized PhD. And in terms of the discussion on what is artistic research, the letter that we got from the department, from the Kunnskapsdepartementet a few weeks ago, when they announced that they were doing the changes to the regulations that is enabling this degree to start, I found like this one sentence, or these 2 sentences here, quite interesting and enlightening on giving a very short and precise definition of what artistic research is thought to be currently. It's in Norwegian, but I will translate this afterwards. I'll just read it in Norwegian first. And this, of course, this text is related to the PhD program, but I think it applies much more generally. Så it says that kunstutøvelsen skal stå i sentrum for doktorgradsarbeidet. Samtidig skal kunstutøvelsene følges av en eksplisitt refleksjon, som ved presentasjon av prosjektet gjør det mulig for andre å ta del i den arbeidsmåten og innsikten som det kunstneriske utviklingsarbeidet genererer. So they say that like the artistic practice is at the core of the PhD program and the work within the PhD program, and at the same time, it has to, they want it to lead to reflection that can be presented and shared with others, so that others can take part in the methods that have been used within the work and the kind of insights that this work has led to. So I think there are like 3 keywords here that are very useful for us, I think. One of them is practice, the other one is to reflect, and the third one is to share. And I think that within the artistic research, these are maybe the 3 key activities that we want to see. So we have the artistic practice, we have the reflection on the artistic practice, and then we have the sharing, both of the results of the practice and of the practice itself, but also the sharing of the reflections and insights that this practice leads to. So, the PhD is something that we're working on. I mean, it's one of the ambitions of the school is to establish a PhD degree. And this is very likely to happen this spring. And one question I get all the time from the research fellows, and I know that there are a bunch of them here, is, will I be able to transfer the new program when it's been established? And I'm always cautious about promising things that I can't live up to if I don't know that I can live up to it. But what I can say is that we're working really, really hard to make sure that the answer is yes for all of you. And we'll be back with more information for you as soon as there is more information. And it might not take too long. So that's that's for you. Yesterday, we announced 6 new positions within this program. The deadline for application is March 15. More information about this is on the website, and also links to where you can apply for an artistic research position here at school. Currently, these 6 positions are linked to the current artistic research program that is run as a national program. But the idea is that as soon as we have established our own programs, all of these positions will also be transferred to the PhD program here at the school. And when we establish our own PhD program, there are requirements to kind of like the volume of this program, which is also kind of like meaning that we have, like one implication is that we have quite high ambitions here. We need at any one time to have at least 15 candidates involved with the program. And on average, over 3 years, we need to graduate 5 candidates each year. And in order to achieve this, the plan is that we will recruit 6 candidates every year from now on. And another change that will also happen when we get the PhD is that when we get the PhD, the normal way of doing it is that it becomes a 4-year degree with 25% of teaching obligations. So this also a transition that will have to happen over the next few years from the current 3-year position to 4 years. And that will probably be something that will will take effect for new candidates when they get accepted, and it will be announced when we're announcing the positions. So for the positions that we announced now, they are still for 3 years, but maybe from 2019 we'll manage to make this 4-year positions. And I think when we do that change, I think then we will really see an increased impact of the PhD program within the school. Because one of the feedback I get from the PhD students is that they often feel that they're not as tightly linked to the academic activities within the department or within the school in general as they would like to, and they don't get to share what comes out of their research in the way that they would like to do. And I think when you get 4 years and 25% teaching, there will be a much stronger integration of the PhD candidate into the teaching, into the general activities of the department. That will also function as a bridge in general between the teaching and the artistic research. So I think when this starts happening, we will really start to reap the benefits of the building up that we're currently doing. So I think we have some really exciting things to look forward in the next 5 years or so. I think this will really develop the school further. For the ones that are interested in applying to this program, we have an information meeting Wednesday, January 31st at 17 in the auditorium. There's information about this on the website as well. And the deadline is, as I said, 15th of March. I'd now like to just give a brief overview of the program for this week. There's more information about all of this on the web, and it might be that I forget details here. There's been a lot going on over the last few days. But all of the program is online on the web. We also print daily programs for what's going on today. And if you're trying to figure out where things is, I think there's a map of the building with like indications of where the different activities take place. So that should be possible to find your way. Or you could just ask someone and get someone to help you to find where you want to go. Today, the program is happening here. And we have 2 sessions that are both, get a bit of time. Before lunch, we have a conversation between 4 of the artistic research fellows at the school, all within the dance department. Ingrid Fiksdal, Janne Camilla Lystar, Mette Edvardsen, and Brynja Abel Banlien. And they will be in conversation with Chrysa Parkinson. She's a professor of new performance practices at the Stockholm University of the Arts. She's also supervisor for 2 of these candidates. And we really, really appreciate that you are here today. I'm looking forward to this conversation, I have to say. I also think it's really nice that we get these spaces in the program that are not just presenting work that has been done, but by being a conversation, I think, there is thinking going on, research going on stage, actually, soon. Hopefully. After lunch, we have a program that has been set up by Apollonia Systerik and Maria Lind, who are professors of art and public space and artistic research, respectively, with invited guests, Sarat Maharai and Mats Leiderstam. And they also had a seminar yesterday with a number of artistic research fellows in preparation for the program today. And the program after lunch, with the title, How Do You Know?, is part of a larger series of seminars that is going on this spring, and that is artistic research in collaboration between Apollonia and Maria. So there are also seminars happening on March 13 and April 11. So for the ones that are interested to kind of continue following this after today, make sure that you connect with them and get information so that you can also attend those dates. We tried to make the program of this week in a way that is not just talking about what we're working on, but also kind of actually meeting the works themselves. So there are a number of exhibitions and presentations of the actual artistic works going on this week, and all of this is opening this afternoon. So when the program here finishes at 4 o'clock, we have a little break. You can do mingling in the reception area. And then 16:30, We do like the official launch of an exhibition at the library of books published by KHiO staff. I will say a little bit more about that later. At 17, Trine Vasta is presenting the Digital Twins project at the Reception Gallery. And Talenes has made a new sound work called Future Preposition. So this is a listening station in the reception area. Marit Tingleff has been working on large ceramic sculptures over long periods of time. And she's presenting this at the Gallery Seildukan at the street level of it. That also opens at 17. 17:30, Felix Gmelin is screening the film I Wish You Welcome to an Active, Inspiring and Participatory Day in the auditorium. And I think that could be the title for the whole week, hopefully. And finally, at 6 o'clock, Jorge, I think is the right way of saying his name, is also doing an exhibition at the one level up at Gallery Seildukan. So please hang around into the evening to get to see all of this. All of these projects will be available not just today but throughout the week. There's more details on times and so on for them on the website. And scheduled into the program are also different kinds of conversations with each and every one of these artists, where you can kind of like engage in direct conversations about the projects they're working on. So I want to say a little bit more about the exhibition at the library, because like more or less every week since I started here, I've had like 1 to 3 books landing on my desk that are made by staff at KHiO, and the level of production of books here is amazing. It's amazing, really. Recently, this National Program for Artistic Research had an evaluation where one of the conclusions is that within this program, there is kind of like a lack of permanent publications on the artistic research that's going on. And I'm looking at that, and then I'm looking at what's landing on my desk, and there's kind of like a certain kind of like a discrepancy between them. But at the same time, I think that we don't have much of an coordinated effort with respect to these books. So very often they publish like 200 copies and so, and then they are distributed a bit arbitrary. So one of the things that I hope that we'll manage to do over the next few months is to improve the system for this and kind of like implement the central system for it, so that we have these books distributed to sort of key bookstores, galleries and museums around Norway and also abroad, so that we can kind of like do a better job with sharing all of the work that we're doing. Hopefully also that will mean that we will have more interaction with, engagement with what we're doing at the school, so that we will benefit from the from increased response. So I got a short video from the library yesterday of this exhibition, and I liked that they also made a cloth design for it. And the interesting thing is that this is already outdated, because this morning I had yet another book at my desk. So please check out this at the exhibition, at the library during the week, because I think it's also something that gives an insight into all of the research that's going on here and the variety of fields that is happening within. Tomorrow we have a special session with perspectives on artistic research. And it's like most of the program for this week is based on invitation. We've invited all of the staff at the school to propose things that they wanted to present during the week, and the response has been fantastic. But we also wanted to have one session where we sort of like program in order to be able to discuss one particular topic a bit more systematic. So tomorrow we want to put perspectives on artistic research. We want to think about how artistic research connects to or differs from other kinds of research happening elsewhere, and also think about how do artistic research work in difference to, or next to, or as part to the general kind of artistic practice and research that are happening in the professional and independent artistic fields. So we have a number of presentations tomorrow that are all kind of like trying to discuss this from different perspectives. Nils Harald Sørdal is one of the research fellows here within Opera. His research topic is also integrating kind of like what's in Norwegian called prestationspsykologi. Like I don't know the English name for it, term for it, but it's probably how to achieve in stress situations, which is something that's being researched a lot in sports. So he's trying to take knowledge from that and see how this can be applied in performance and also in other kind of artistic practices. So he has supervisors at the Idrettshøyskolen, and he's also publishing papers more in psychology journals. So there's like elements of this kind of research in his artistic research as well. The very first presentation in the morning is by Verdensteatret. And Verdensteatret is one of the is a very important in the contemporary theatre group in Norway that has been working for very long, since the 80s. I was myself part of this group for some years in some of the productions, and I learned a tremendous lot from them. And I think that some of what I've always remained with me as very interesting about the way Verdensteatret work is that they had a very pronounced, detailed methodology for their work. So when I first started working with them, I was really schooled into their way of thinking, which has also for me been tremendously useful later on in other contexts. And I think this is the same for many other artists that have been involved with them, that it had a very deep impact on them. So we invited them to talk about their research and the way they're thinking about it and has been thinking of it, because this has been unfolding over so many years. Heidi Marianne Haraldsen is also based at the dance department, but she is doing a PhD in coaching and psychology at Idrettshøyskolen. So she will be presenting her project. So an example of a more scientific kind of research going on within the school. We've invited some of the theory teachers to discuss the role of theory within the school, both with respect to education and with respect to the research, to get that perspective. And I hope, for instance, that we get some input from them on how can the school facilitate for them with respect to research. And how can this be integrated with the rest of the research activities within the school? The last speaker before lunch, Cecilia Roos, is head of research at Stockholm University of the Arts. She's also leading the editorial board of a new Scandinavian journal on artistic research that will be launched later this spring. It's called VIS, and the VIS is set up as a collaboration between Uni Arts in Stockholm and the NARP program in Norway. It's using the research catalog as its publishing platform. And one of the two of the things that this will be encouraging, one is that we communicate about artistic research in the Scandinavian languages, that we don't always, like I do now, switch to English, but that we also develop a language for this and a conversation about this in Scandinavian. And the other is also that sometimes we're talking about like the Norwegian model in artistic research with this very strong emphasis on artistic practice itself. And I think, I don't know if we can kind of claim that it's only Norway we have this, because the same way of thinking also is also very present in Stockholm. But this kind of artistic research that is insisting on the artistic practice being the core of it is the second key point of this journal. And of course, I would encourage you to attend this presentation and consider, whether you can contribute to this journal in the future. After lunch, we have a guest from the University of Oslo, Alexander Refsum Jensenius. He's working at the Institute of Musicology and is one of two leaders of a new center of excellence in research that's called Rytmo, that will be researching on rhythm, time, and movement. And there are several reasons why we invited him here. One is that I think that a lot of the research that they will be doing can potentially be of interest also to us, maybe in particular for the dance department. They're doing a lot of research into movements that might be interesting to know of, at least. The second reason also that they are also often engaging in activities that are in reality artistic practice, but they have kind of like a similar problem to what we have sometimes, that they kind of like also stuck within the boundaries of the expected methods within their fields, which are then scientific methods, and would like to be able to implement artistic methods more. So Alexander is very concerned about trying to build down the barriers between artistic research and other kind of research, and we'll be talking about that. Marie Kølbæk-Iversen is artistic research fellow here. She is at the Department of Fine Arts, and her PhD is a collaboration with the University of Aarhus, where she is linked to the Institute of Anthropology. So she will be talking about her project, and then we end this day with a panel discussion that is trying to sum up and maybe think onwards from everything we witnessed tomorrow. I'll jump a bit faster through the rest of the program because I'm running out of time here, but that's fine. The session tomorrow that I was just talking about is in Norwegian, but we're also offering a parallel session that will be in English. So for the ones that are not Norwegian speakers, there is an alternative program that I also think will be really interesting for you, with presentations by Jeremiah Day, Anke Kuhlmann, Jorge, talking about the exhibition and his research, and Mikael Johannes Jansen. And Anke and Mikael, they are invited to the school this week by the design department. They both come from the Groningen Minervia Art Academy, and they have come here with Erasmus funding. So it's a pleasure to have them present. After lunch, there are film screenings, Segunda Vez, which is a work that's coming out of one of the artistic research projects at school that is funded by the national program, and the film by Felix Gumerlin is screened afterwards. In the evening, there is a book launch at the library, so then we'll get yet another book in the exhibition there. Printmaking in Expanded Field, which is edited by Jørn Pettersson. Thursday, we have a number of conversations before lunch, where one artist or one of the staff members here is in conversation with another member about the artistic practice. Arne Hjort Guttu is working on a book with Rike Frank as editor that is collecting text that she's been doing over a number of years. Tore Wang Lie will be talking to Theodor Barth. This is a link to yet another of these nationally funded artistic research projects. Felix will be talking about the research that went into his film, and I will have a conversation with Finn Juncker. After lunch, there are a number of parallel sessions, workshops, concerts, and so on. And at 3 o'clock, me and Siren will be, for the ones that are interested, we will be talking about how we would try to work with large applications for research funding this year. And there's a full day workshop by Amanda Steggal linked to her project Amphibious Triologies, which is the third current nationally funded artistic research project at the school. In the evening, we have something slightly different. Lotte Korn of Lund, currently, she's working at the Arts and Craft department. Many also knows her as a writer from Morgenbladet. She currently has one of the art spaces in the city town hall. and she's opening this in the evening for a studio visit. This is one of several activities that one has to sign up for, and this one is unfortunately already fully signed. I'm looking forward to that one. And finally, Friday, we have 3 more conversations. Gregor Buhl and Jacobo Spirey from the opera department, and then Anne Thun Knudsen and Talle Nes, who are both district research fellows. So I hope you'll enjoy the week, and I'll just finish off by also thanking everyone that's contributing to this week. A special thank you to Siren, that's been doing a fantastic job with the organizing of it. Big thank you to everyone that is contributing to the week by presenting, engaging in it. Big thank to every one of you that will be present here over the week, be part of the community, part of the discussions, and a big thank you to everyone in the staff at the school that has helped organizing this event. So welcome and enjoy.